Alright folks, so I went ahead and got the rest of the hardware we needed. Last video I showed we got the motor mounts bolted up. Now we got our actual motor mounts bolted up as well. So everything is mocked up and ready. So all we need now is to get the motor in here. And I'm going to go back here in this cross member. I'm going to get this dry shaft out because I got to replace the slip yoke on it, and I got to replace the carrier bearing. Like I said, the carrier bearings are the same as the 67 to 72 C10 trucks, exact same carrier bearing. Slip yoke is the same too. And but be careful about that. Depends on what transmission. If you're running a Muncie or a Turbo 400 or a Turbo 350, watch out for that. But anyway, we're gonna get this cross member out and replace them bolts as well. Kind of looking a little rusty there, but this frame is very solid on this car. It's got a very good frame. But we got these all mocked up, and these are 7/16 bolts, 7/16 nuts. So that's what I use. I put 2 washers on each side, kind of basically what the factory did. Same way on this one. The factory is calling for 7/16 bolts, and then of course these are 3/8/16, and they are, I think, 1.5 inches long, and then the ones for the actual motor mounts are about 4 inches, and they're fine thread though. But anyway, so we got all that mocked up. Our motor mounts are in, and of course I'll unbolt them and we'll bolt them to the motor, and we're pretty much ready for that motor. But we're going to take that 305 out of my truck because I'm going to find a 454 for it. And we're going to sit that thing in here. And we're going to, quote unquote, in quotations there, we're going to make it a 283. That way this car will be somewhat original. It'll be kind of a clone 283. But as you can see, everything is installed and mocked up. Looking good. And these motor mounts are very inexpensive. They weren't even that much at all. Both motor mounts were, I think, 24 bucks for both motor mounts. And all the hardware was about, I think, all together for all for 8 bolts on the bottom, 8 lock washers, 8 lock nuts. I probably had about $30, maybe $40 in all the hardware, but everything is grade 8. Use grade 8 stuff because that way it's strength, you know. Grade 8 is supposed to be pretty strong. And of course we'll take in, we're going to detail this frame. We'll wire wheel the frame here and paint it all black and get it all cleaned up underneath here. Replace our brake lines. But you want to paint the frame first and put your brake lines on last, because it makes it kind of stand out more, I think. Keep this car kind of looking original. But yep, that's where we're at. So the motor mounts are finally done. Everything's installed. We got our actual mounts themselves mocked up, and we're good to go. Now the towers on the 235 that used to be in here are different. The 6-cylinder mounts are these down here are completely different. I believe these mounts here are the same, and then it's got another mount that bolts to this, to the actual block. So it's actually 6 pieces total on a 6-cylinder on the 235, and then it's just 4 on the V8. Now this car, like I said, if you don't know already and you're watching, this car was originally a 6-cylinder car. When I bought this car, the guy had removed both motor mounts a long time ago. And well, when I say a long time ago, it was actually fairly recent, because I could still see some of the markings where they were bolted. You can kind of see it through here. But it actually uses one less bolt hole. But they do bolt up different. But it would have used this one, and that one, and then there's another one over there. You can see it underneath the motor mount. But anyway, it's all mocked up, ready to clean this frame up and get these brake lines made up. And I want to get that dry shaft out, put a new carrier bearing in it, And them things are a joke. They're junk. They really are. But do that, and then I'm going to get the bolts for the cross member, get them out, and replace them. They're looking a little crusty there. I might reuse them. We'll see how bad they are. And we'll be just about set. This car is definitely going to be back from the dead. That's for sure. Now, won't be the original motor in it, or the original transmission. Could be. I have a 3-speed in it. It might be from this car. I don't know. Kind of highly unlikely. But it is a Saginaw 3-speed. So I have to take a look at it. It's hard to tell. But this ain't really a how-to, but this is a 59 Chevrolet Biscayne. Use the same concept if you got a Bel-Air or Impala. Same concept. You're going from a 235, which was what this car had originally at the time, and you're going to a 283 or V8. And I'm sure you could bolt the big block in here too if you want it. I'm debating about putting the 402 that I have in here eventually. Be a little something fun to do. Throw a little 402 in here. But anyway, that's how you get her done there. It's not too awful bad. And then it will cost you more than anything is the hardware. That's what got me so much. And them motor mounts were a little high. They're on the high end kind of. I think they're about 80, 90 bucks, something like that, for the actual ones that bolt to the frame. And then the ones that actually, the motor mounts themselves were only like about 12 bucks a piece. But yeah, the hardware, I tell you, everything's going up now, but the hardware's a little pricey. But this ain't really a how-to, but I guess you could consider that. But 235 to a V8. We're putting a 305 in here, but it's going to be a 283. Shh, don't tell nobody.